All right, hey there, guys. Sam here with you. It's December 6th, Wednesday, December 6th. Trying to try something a little different today. So I'm picking here based off some things I'm looking at over here on CoinCheckup. Now, I do like this site. For a long time, I used to go to CoinGecko. I find that I prefer what I get here at CoinCheckup. So you might bookmark it somewhere. It's not a bad place to go. There's some good detail here, particularly if you're interested in a deeper dive into the fundamental story behind a coin. There's a lot of good resources on here. But what I did today is just coming in today, and I've got it sorted here on 24-hour volume, which I'll do often. And most of crypto looks just like this, right? Straight down. So my thinking is, well, where's a coin that's bucking the trend? Well, there aren't many of them, but there are a couple. So I'm going to start here with the first one that I came to, which is Binance coin, which I've always had an affinity to. I like what they're doing. So we come over here to Binance coin. So looking at this now, so this is an 8-hour chart. It's rather a nice count here. Now there's a couple of spots here was kind of interesting. So if we look here, this section here requires a bit of a judgment call. So I think we can say that some aberrant activity happened here. I don't remember what was happening there. Shit, that's January 18th. I don't remember what happened there. But you had this wicked spike down. Now that creates a bit of a conundrum for the Elliott trader. So if this is 1, 2, well, we've got an overlap here of the 1. Now that's, there are cases where the extreme volatility of a move like that's, God knows what's behind it. So the way I would count this is A, B, C, the 4 starting here. So what do you do with that, right? So the overlap implies diagonal. So that's even though the 4 is here, the fact that we have an overlap, because this could be misidentified, this could be the 4. Or yes, pardon me. Then you'd have to go, well, yes, it could be. So you have to treat that. You can't just go, oh, that's inconvenient. So I'm just gonna ignore it. Now, a couple of ticks in an FX pair, in this case now maybe in a crypto spread. Yeah, it's dicey. Right? So we look at it and you think, okay, well, if I'm in a diagonal, how does that look? So would that work? Well, potentially it's a one wave here, so we could have a leading diagonal, and the shape here does have more of a three-wave structure. I would suggest to finish. So if this is an ABC, well, that means we got to get an ABC out of this. So maybe you can go ABC with that overlap. Then it's a little trouble. Well, to some degree, I don't know that it matters at this point here as to how we call this. It's just that caught my eye here. So what does that matter over here? I think we could say, shit, at this point it doesn't. Well, one thing we can say is that something of a 5-wave, some motive wave has, sorry, I forget to turn that off. Some motive wave has completed here. So if this is a completed motive wave here, we're looking for 3 to correct it. Well, a couple of things we can look at here. So just as we would with any 5-wave structure, I'm just grabbing the absolute low down here. I wick that off with that. It makes it easier to get to it. Well, here we go. So we've nice 5-wave. Right, let's call it wave 1 here. Now this was also a little tricky here. So I'm counting this as a WXY. So we get down here to the 50. We're right. You can see we got a nice little low volume node over here where the market just fits in just snugly right into that. We come to the kind of the header of where we have market acceptance here, and that's where we launch from. So looking left, there's not a lot here. You might. Maybe you had some prior resistance kick in here, and it's just hovering around the 50. Now, when you dig into that a little more deeply, you really have to work backwards on this. So I'm going to go all the way down to the hourly. So if you look at this, so at first glance, you're inclined. So here's the pivot here. So when you look at it first, you're thinking, oh, well, that must be 1, 2. Can't get a 3 in there. So the only thing that works there is that I can see clearly I can get 5 coming down into this low. It's a little odd shape, but I can get 1, 2, 3. Here's the 4 into the Vegas wave, and then we finish with a diagonal. Although we have a we end up with a double bottom down here for the 5. So working backwards, that's I think the only way you can get a count here that works. So if this is a 5, I don't have another way to end this. I can't go, well, can't's the wrong word. So I couldn't go 1, 2, 3, 4. No, because we're past the 2. So we have so this has to be ABC. Right, so we have something impulsive happening over here. So this has to finish. This can't be the 4 because we'd be past any 2. So it has to be ABC. Well, if you back up into that, then this has to be an X wave if we're going to finish in ABC. But then you look here and you look at this and you think, well, shit, man, how am I getting an ABC out of that? Well, the only way you can get it to work is this has to be the A and the B. So we have a I mean, that's a deep B, but we don't overlap here. So A, B, then I can get 5 coming down. So the structure is irregular, no doubt about it. So that we'd have to be trading this as an A, B, C. Get that double click thing. You got to double click that to get it off. So we're finishing that first leg like that. I don't love it, right? So it's irregular shaping, right? So the symmetry certainly is off, but I don't see another way to get this to finish down here. So if this plays well as our corrective X, although it's shallow, right? That's shallow for an X wave. I don't even think we make the 50 here. We don't, as a matter of fact. So we're a little shy of the 50, but so potentially, or maybe you've got an algo in play there. Sometimes they will use this, as we've seen this in Bitcoin. It's the second pivot that they use. So I'm going to take this one off. So could that work? Well, where do we go? Is that front run? It's hard to say. That seems a bit far for a front run, but it could be. So I got to go back. Again, I can't show you in a 1 hour. So if we go to a 2 hour here and look at this, well, certainly it plays as an ABC. We have a nice 3-wave structure. Now, is this a force fit? Maybe. However we do it, I think this as a 3-wave correction here, I think it's reasonable to make a case that we have a good low here. So what would that be? Well, that's potentially now our 2-wave low, meaning anything in this motive wave coming off of this is setting up rather nicely as a potential 1 wave. So, standard ops, we'll just open it up and draw 50. So if this is done, now this is happening rather fast. So I have to really spread it out to even look at the subdivision here to get it. Here I'm on a 2 hour still. Now it plays, it's there. So from this, here's our, I guess this would be our low right here. So here's our low. That's the Y. Proposed second wave. Well, I can get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's just checking on that. So if this is the 1 and that's the 2, we're a little shy of the 1618, but this looks fairly good. So either we've gone 1, 2, it could be 1, 2, an ABC. We'd be in a leading diagonal, but I think it looks like we could be done here. So we've got not enough, maybe if I go down to the 15-minute, I'm just looking for any divergence up here at this top, and we have a bit of it, right? You can see it here. So if this is the 3rd and this is come here, there we go. If that's the 3rd and that's the 5, we do have classic divergence here. So price high here, oscillator doesn't go with it. So potentially now this is done, right? I think that plays fairly well. So not unreasonable to call that done as a 1, even though we have a very long 1 wave here in terms of the length of time. So the alternate would be if we get an overlap of the 1, if this were to come down deeper, maybe there's a diagonal there, but there's no reason to assume that just yet. We got to wait and see. So from this low here, if that's a completed 1 wave, well, now we're just off of the low thinking, okay, there's a 1, 2 likely going in, 3, 4, and 5 just placeholders up here. So let me change that color. We'll go up a degree. All right, let's bring this all back together here. So if that's a 1, which I think you can make a pretty strong case for, if that's our 1, then we're just starting the B. So A, B, C would be, whoops, did I do that wrong? Let's get that again. So let's get my little ABC here. So maybe A, we don't know that the A is done. A, B, and C going in. Let's put those in yellow. So Is that A done? I see I'm down here on a 15-minute. So it's hard to say whether that A is done, even if I open this up yet. Are we done yet? I think it's premature to call that done. And we're looking for, so if I use this low, we're looking for the 50 here. So just pulling from this last swing low before we go into this proposed one wave. Well, here's where we're looking for it, right over here, anywhere from the 50 to 618. So you got a nice little hole here where the market just blasted off here. So you get sort of a combination of, here's our prime zone, but it's right in sync with a low volume area, so you don't have market acceptance there. If it breaks, so the thinking being, if it comes down here and we get a break here, we could go deeper, right, where we do have market acceptance. You got a little bump here from this action here, but if this is going to hold and stay technical here as a 1-2, well, we wouldn't want to see it getting too far. This is your prime zone, and now we're going to run into a little structure here that may come in. So we've got, excuse me, perhaps that's some structure here that would be right in that sweet spot here. So it's a little early to be just saying, hey, this is there's a trade potentially setting up here. But because we don't know how long this is going to take, we don't have the A in yet. It's a little bit. There's potential here that we've got more upside in this one leg. So it's one to be on your radar. So clearly it's bucking the trend. So we've got good. So let me go back to an hourly here. So this is certainly impulsive. Any sort of retrace back down here to find any of these levels, these areas of support. So we want to be looking at least for the 50. I'm just trying to see if there's any other structure that might be meaningful to us here as we approach the 50, other than we're just kind of coming to some prior support levels here. All right, anything in there? So you could maybe you're making the case here that as we've come down to these levels previously, right? This was long-term support. So can that be support again? Well, we certainly had no trouble getting through it as resistance. All right, so the fact that we've gone that far through, I think there's a reasonable case. I certainly would have this alerted. So as we sit back here, coming back towards the 38, so I might set an alert here to go off as we come to the 38. So I'm alerted to what the shape and structure of this looks like. It's not uncommon to see the A wave come all the way down to the 50, right? So that's our first stopping point, and then we might get something like that take us to the golden zone. Not unreasonable. It's common. So the A does not appear as though there's enough subdivision, enough structure to it to be finished. But this is certainly one to be watching. So I'd want to know if we get as we approach the 50. If we approach the 50, I'd want to know about that. So I'd set an alert on that. Right, have it text you, email you. Right, that's a nice thing about TradingView. So I'd want to be notified to that. I think there's real potential here for this to actually get rolling here. So all of this has to go up. So here's the proposed 3. If we get this count, so 1, 2, then we'd be looking for the big move up here. It's always 2 clicks. So then it would be 3, 4. If we can get through the golden zone, then we'd be up here. So 1, 2, big 3, potential. That's all potential, just potentially right there. So we look back here now and think about what are the significant pivots it's going to have to get through as resistance. Well, the big one will be the all the way here. So this we're pretty close to our wave 3 target. So if this is going to be realized, we just need a little bit more of the market to reveal itself as to, are we staying corrective here? Right, are we staying corrective? And if we find support down here at these prior levels, that's a potential launch point here to get into the 3, 4, and 5. Now that would be strikingly out of sync with the broader trend in crypto, but the standouts, that's pumping for a reason. So, nice to see a crypto that's actually moving higher and setting up for a potential long down here at this base. So I think there's something to keep an eye on there. I mean, again, it's where can you find a crypto that's going up? So you got to be careful of just a bull trap and just a pump and dump. But I think that's less likely here. So that's one to keep an eye on. And we'll come back and revisit it if we get down here. Maybe we'll do another video as we approach that 50 and see if we can step into a trade there. All right, guys, I've got a couple more I'm trying to get done today. So I'll be back to you shortly.